Welcome back to your TV6 Morning News. It's a survival story that People magazine calls one of the greatest survival stories ever. Eric LeMarque joining us. You're a former NMU hockey player, but you have quite the story that you tell in your book called Crystal Clear. So this started 9 years ago. Do you want to tell us about the events that are described in the book?
Sure. It's an 8-day survival story. It's a story of addiction. It's a story of finding your strengths by reaching the limits of your endurance. It's about knowing that if you never quit, you'll always win. And something that I never realized was that sometimes you have to lose part of yourself, and maybe even the part you love the most, before you realize what can make you whole.
You're talking about never quitting. You had a lot of motivation. What kept you motivated when you were out there?
You know, it's at the time I was out there, I didn't realize, in fact, what kind of trouble that I was in. To me, it was like an adventure, almost to some situation that I put myself in, and I had to find myself out. I think that the biggest motivation for me out there was the ability, once I decided to get rid of my addiction, once I had decided to reclaim a portion of my life of who I was always predestined to be by upending the baggie of meth, did I grasp immediately the utilization of that bag, and that bag would go on to help me survive as I melted snow for the next 7 days and use it as a canteen. And there was a tremendous amount of a sense of reclaiming who I was and who I was always predestined to be. And you know, that steely determination was instilled to me by Coach Kyle, Coach Comley, my stepfather, also my grandfather, and I was very, very grateful to those individuals that helped me battle through all those elements that I faced.
Was there one specific turning point when you were out in the woods, or?
Absolutely. You know, there was the reclamation of that. I've got myself into this situation, and now I'm coming back to the person that I was meant to be. There was also the determination that once I saw my feet and pulled skin off the bottom of the frozen socks off my feet, that I realized that these feet still had to take me out of here, and there was nothing that I was going to do to not achieve that. I wasn't going to let my parents find me and put me in a box. I had been too accomplished and been kind of like the shining golden boy my whole life, even though I got caught up into a mess that really inspired me and drove me to find my way off that mountain.
All right, now the experience took your legs, of course, but you came away saying in your book, "I feel rich. I've never been a happier man than I am right now. God has saved me." What did you mean by that, and just how has that influenced your life moving forward?
You know, at first, when I was in the hospital, and you know, I'd push the envelope and right on through, and now I'm faced with just 4 walls in a hospital room and a flat sheet that my feet used to tent up at. And the hardest part was now just finding my way out of the darkness and learn to tell the truth again. And I realized I was alive. I realized that I had overcome this, and I realized that no matter what was going to happen, that I was going to find my way through, and that I was going to use this. And what I'm finding now, when I almost had to speak life into myself at that point, and I had to tell myself who that I was going to be and who that I've become. And that was, you know, what I decided to do, because I'm a big believer that out of your heart, your mouth speaks, and that you have the power to change things with what you say.
All right, we have time for one last question. What's your advice for people battling addiction right now?
Well, you're flying a plane and you've never had any pilot skills, and you're going to crash. And how hard you're going to crash is dependent on what kind of faith that you have, and you know, how willing that you are quickly willing to step away from it. Certainly.
Okay. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Now, Eric's book, Crystal Clear, is available on Amazon.com, also on your website, ericlemarque.com. Those are listed there. On your screen, there's also more information on our website, uppermichigansource.com. So thank you so much for joining us this morning, Eric, and sharing your inspiring story.
Thank you, Ed.